everybody. How are you guys all doing today? So this is episode 10 of the Purl Up and Die podcast, and welcome back to any of my returning viewers, and welcome to some of my new viewers. I see that I've got a few new ones, so welcome. I'm excited that you're here. My name is Jaden. I'm coming to you from Saskatchewan, Canada. Still winter. I think I say that every time. It's like this annoying thing now. But anyways, it is still winter. We still have snow. I'm still working on winter wear, and I'm so itching to get some summer projects underway, but it's like, who wants to start summer stuff when it looks like December outside? I don't know. Drinking coffee today. You know what? I haven't even had a single sip of coffee yet today. This is it, and it's going to go cold because I'm going to be talking to you guys, so I don't know. I kind of thought about podcasting today, and then my sister said, "Oh, do you want me to watch the little one?" And I'm like, "Sure." So it's hopefully not going to be too disjointed, but if it is, I apologize already. Where you can find me around the internet, you can find me on Ravelry as Creations on a Whim. My designs are also there, and you can find them at Little Prairie Purl. Instagram, I'm Little Prairie Purl. And my Etsy shop is littleprairiepearl.etsy.com. And I sell little project bags and some sassy knitting tags and a few patterns on there. I don't have a whole lot in my shop right now. I put a few new bags up and they just sold like in a snap. I have more fabric coming for those particular bags. They were Anna Green Gables bags. I have about 8 to 10 orders kind of pending when I get that fabric in, and then I'm going to get those done, and then I'm going to sew up the rest of the fabric and just have them in my shop as a general purchase. So hopefully within the next month or so those will be up. But I love them. They were really exciting. I'll try to insert a picture because I don't have one left to show you, sorry. But yeah, super exciting. So my shop's been busy, so thank you so much to anybody who's purchased or looked or favorited. I really appreciate it. It's really exciting to see my little shop grow. So today I am the worst co-host in the whole world. I've got a make along or like a knit along, crochet along going with Megan of the Knitters Party podcast going. We were supposed to announce it on our podcasts. Who failed? I'm sorry, Megan. I'm like the worst ever. I do have the threads up in my Ravelry groups. I will discuss all this in like a couple of minutes, but I just take a moment to hang my head in shame. And I haven't got my podcast done. And I was like, oh my goodness, stupid. She's never going to host one with me again. I swear it. I hope she does, but she might not. I wouldn't blame her. Okay, so look at my show notes today. Okay, so I may as well talk about the knit along since we were already discussing it and, you know, shaming me for it. So Megan and I said Knitters Party podcast. You can find her YouTube channel and watch her if you don't. She's awesome. I love her. So we decided to team up because I love to knit with budget yarns. I mean, I love a good indie dyed yarn, don't get me wrong, but the bulk of my stash is like knit picks and stuff from the craft store. No shame in that because that's what I can afford. So I was thrilled to find another podcaster that shared my same sort of values, and so I said, let's do something. Let's run with that. So we decided to do the hashtag cheap cow. We're running it through Ravelry. Let me look at my notes because I'm going to forget something. It runs from March 1st. So today is the 3rd that I'm filming. This podcast will be up on the 4th. So, I mean, we're at the very beginning. So don't worry that I was late with that. Still have plenty of time. So March 1st to 30th. We do not allow anything that's on your needles ahead of time. Meaning you have to cast on something new for this knit along, crochet along. It's not exclusive. We're calling it a knit along just because it's easy, but feel free to throw in whatever your craft is. We're not picky. If you crochet, great. I would love to see what you're making. Yes, so new cast-ons only. You have to be a member of both of our groups. So on Ravelry, you can search both of our groups under the groups tab. Hers is Knitters Party Podcast. Mine's Purl Up and Die Podcast. So super easy. It's just like finding us on YouTube. So find us there. Join both groups. And Megan's got like a chatter thread going. I also have a chatter thread going. Hers is a little bit busier than mine. And I also have the WIPs and FOs thread. So WIPs meaning the WIPs that you're working on that you've started for our knit along. We'll be pulling prizes from the WIP and FO threads. I'm not sure if Megan's going to have one as well, or if we're going to keep one in mine and one in hers. I don't really know yet. We'll figure that out. But post your WIPs as you go. Like say, you know, you work on it and you get a couple inches done, post it. And when you get the FO done, post it. Because that's where we're going to pull prizes and you can have multiple entries. We're not picky. We're pretty easygoing. So, because the other thing is you don't have to finish your project. Say you've decided, okay, I've got a whole sweater's quantity of some acrylic that I picked up at Michael's, and you want to start that project. Maybe this inspires you to start your sweater. We don't expect you to be finished a whole sweater by March 30th. I mean, some people can definitely pump one out in that time, but most people can't. Life, you know, things. So if all you've got is like the bulk of the body done or the 2 sleeves, we're just saying if it's going to be a largish project, try to have about 25% or more done. Just, you know, a cast on isn't going to count, or like an inch in the whole month. We're going to be like, no. So substantial amount, please, if you can. So this is a budget-based knit along. So you cannot spend more than $10 per 100 grams. I know it sucks because some of your favorite yarns might be $11. Somebody asked about Hawthorne, Knit Picks Hawthorne. I love Knit Picks Hawthorne. I would absolutely love to have it in the knit along, but we just had to set a budget somewhere. Otherwise we could keep creeping it up. So we just said, you know what, 10 bucks. 10 bucks and under. You can get awesome yarn for that price. So find one of those, pick it, and let's go. And yeah, so I guess that's it. Except for prizes, we do have prizes. The main prize, the grand prize, is going to be a $25 gift card to Knit Picks. And if you live in a country that you can't access Knit Picks yarns, we'll work something out with you that you can get the same equivalent somehow through PayPal, or maybe a gift certificate to a shop that is near you or something like that. But we will gift you a $25 gift card. And the second prize is going to be a Ravelry pattern of your choice under $7 US. So yeah, so they're okay prizes, I think. And I hope that you'll join us. Like I said, please join both of our groups to be eligible for prizes. Come along and chat with us. We would love to see what you're working on, because we've been getting, both of us, I'm pretty sure Megan too, but I know I keep getting messages, people thanking me so much for having, you know, emphasizing the budget part of knitting, because I mean, we all love the hand dye, we all love the expensive stuff, it's gorgeous, but it's sometimes not in our means to buy it. Maybe we're retired, maybe we're living like on assistance, or just have a family, or there's 1,001 reasons that we don't buy hand dyed yarn or expensive, you know, fancy yarns. And there's nothing wrong with that. Somebody said the other day in one of the threads, and I felt it was so sad, but I totally understand it. She said that sometimes watching some of the podcasts, she feels like a second class knitter. We don't want anybody to feel that way. That's terrible. I know people do feel that way, and it's sad, because it's just, it shouldn't be that way. So budget, we love it. So please join us. We would absolutely love to have you, and we would love to have you in the running for a prize, because maybe with that $25 gift certificate for Knit Picks, you can splurge a little bit and get something a little fancier, maybe some cashmere for a treat for yourself. So definitely come along with us. So I'm going to show you what I think I might cast on. Just one second, I have to reach. So I obviously have to cast something on for my own cowl. So I have, I had designed a blanket. I've shown it on my last one. It's like a white blanket with some diagonal stripes. Super cute. But I have some leftover Knit Pick Swish. This stuff I had to check because I was like, oh, I hope that it qualifies after I go on and on. But it is $4.49 for a 50-gram skein. So it's $9 for 100 grams. So I'm under. So I've got some Knit Pick Swish worsted. I've just got scraps. And I think this is going to be enough. If not, oh well. I'll make it work. Okay, so I've got some blue. This is a Knit Pick Swish worsted. All of these are, so I'm not going to keep repeating myself. This is their Brights. This is Ravelry. This is a Brights as well, and it is a Vibrant Violet. And this one is their Sour Apple. So these are all from their Brights collection, these three. And then this one is black, surprise, and this one is white. Ta-da! So all together are these. I don't know, I might not do the white, but maybe I'll just do the black and the Brights. But I am going to try to knit a, I believe it's called a sunset hat. I don't remember the designer, but I will put the information and maybe a photo here. But I think that's what I'm going to do. So I've got just these little remnants left, and I thought, you know what? I hate having leftovers. I would much rather use everything up. So I'm going to make a sunset hat, and I may donate it to charity. That's a big thing for Megan. She loves charity knitting, and I commend her for that. She's such a generous person, and she's so inspiring. So I think I'm going to save that hat, and every year come wintertime in Saskatchewan, they have like a hat, mitts, and coat drive to help little like kids and young like teenagers and stuff like that who don't have appropriate winter wear. We hit -40 here regularly. That's Celsius, but for any of you that are on the Fahrenheit or Imperial, yeah, we're on metric, you're on Imperial, that's -40 Fahrenheit as well. Like, it's cold. So appropriate headwear, mitts, and stuff, very important. So I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to set that hat aside, and it's going to go in the bin for the charity bin, I guess. I don't know. I can't talk. Not enough coffee. Oh, do you like my mug? Isn't it the cutest thing you've ever seen? It's like this cute tealy turquoise and this red. It's from the Pioneer Woman. She finally, I know she's had a line for a long time down in Walmart in the States, but it hasn't come to Canada. But the other day I was at Walmart and she has a line in the Canadian one now. So I'm like, yay! And my coffee's done brewing. They're not brewing, it's like on a timer. It's now 2 hours old. It's not really that good, but I haven't had time to drink it. But Pioneer Woman mug. Coffee tastes better in it for some reason. I love her. I followed her since before she was like really big, like when her blog was still like meh. But you know, when she'd only have like under 100 comments, now it's like in the thousands. So it's pretty awesome. I love that. Yeah, so that's the admin stuff for the day. So I'm gonna move into, so that's kind of a whip to be. So I'm going to move into some things that are actually whips and actually FOs. So amazingly, I have some things today. Start with whips. Guess what I started? I have been talking about this now for 4 or 5 podcasts, and I finally started it. Maybe I was even like the second podcast. It probably was. It's kind of pathetic. My Hitofude. Okay, and it's all tangled. You know, I put it back all nicely, and I still managed to get it all gimped. Back side, front side. So you can't really tell because like it's all on, I think it's on a 40-inch cable. I mean, this sucker is going to be like a super long. Like, it's going to go from elbow to elbow. So, I mean, it's quite scrunched up on here, but it's looking a little bit curly Q. But this is what I've got so far. Isn't that gorgeous? I love it. It is a very simple, it looks really complicated, and maybe it will get more complicated as it goes along, but the lace pattern itself is very easy. If you've never knit lace before, this could look quite intimidating, but it's really the same repeat over and over and over again, and you can read your knitting. Like, you can tell where your yarn overs are supposed to go because they're following a basic pattern. So it's really not overly difficult. it's very enjoyable. The rows do get quite long because, like I said, it's going from elbow to elbow and right across your back. So they're, I don't even know how many inches long this is, but it's got a lot of stitches. There was 200 and something stitches, 250 stitches or so on it. And I've got to do it enough that it becomes a bolero, and then it'll be seamed like right there for this part. So it's going to take a while. And I have not been working on it overly like extensively. I want it to be kind of like a relaxing, it will take me as long as it takes me. Obviously I don't want to be working on it for 4 years. I'd like to be finished it, you know, by summer, but I'm not like pumping out, this isn't my only project is what I'm trying to say. Less words. That's what I need to use. Oh my goodness. But anyways, that yarn, yeah, the Hitofude, and I'm using Le Bien-Aimé yarns. It's like a single ply yarn. It's fingering weight, and it is in the Romance colorway. And the yarn was a gift from a friend, so I really appreciate it. It's a beautiful yarn. Love working with it. Someday I will purchase some myself. And what else I'm working on? Oh, it's just over there. I might have to pause and scoot. Oh, yeah, so, okay, just give me a second. I'll be right. Hey, sorry about that. I had to, it was just out of my reach. I had transferred one of my projects into a new bag, and yeah, I didn't bring it over here, and then I was like, I can't reach it. And I've been having issues with my knees. I don't know. I feel old. Although I've always had issues with my knees, even when I was a little girl. So just an issue that I have. Good times. So anyways, I didn't want to like stand up because I'm on the floor and it's kind of difficult to stand up right now because it hurts my knee. But I just scoot, like scoot, scoot, scoot. I didn't want to show you that. Anyways, the project that I had to scoot for is my Girl from the Grocery Store. I have got some progress. I mean, it's such a simple knit, you know, you'd think that I would work a ton on it, but I don't know. So anyways, I am on the, I don't know, 9th, 8th wedge. But yeah, it's getting big. Oh, come on. Yeah, so I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, yeah, 8th wedge. I like it. It's really squishy. I'm hoping that it blocks out quite a bit bigger because I mean it looks quite big right here, but honestly, like it's, I mean, I guess it's getting there. I think I'm gonna have up to what, maybe 10 on the 10th or 11th wedge is where you start the lace panel. So I don't know. I'm not gonna reserve judgment about how big it is because Hohi. Oh, this is the pattern from Hohi Locatelli for any of those that you don't know. It's called Girl from the Grocery Store. Hohi's patterns are generally very generously sized, nice and big, easy to throw over your shoulders, throw around your neck a couple of times. I love her patterns, and this one is just gorgeous. It's like I said, very simple. It's going to have a big lace panel on the end, and yeah, just gorgeous. And the yarn I'm using is some of my own hand dyed. This is like just a navy blue, unnamed. We don't have it in the shop or anything. And then these little stripes are going to be the girl from the, or it's for the Girl from the Grocery Store and Girl Next Door. I keep getting them mixed up because I named it kind of based on this shawl because I made it for this shawl. So I keep calling it the wrong thing, but the yarn I'm using is just this one. I know you guys are sick of looking at it, but it's called the Girl Next Door. That one, and then my navy blue. So progress on that. I like to pick this one up kind of in the evenings when I'm watching podcasts because it's a little bit more mindless. Just garter both ways with some increases and decreases in strategic places to make it have that shape. Super simple. Like I said last time, I mentioned it on the podcast. If you are new to shawl knitting or whatever, I highly recommend that one. Super easy pattern. And lots of support. Hohi Locatelli patterns have been knit so many times. She's quite popular as a designer, as she should be. So there's been lots of people who've knit her patterns and would be happy if you asked a question in a forum or a thread or something like that, somebody would have the answer for you. And I love that because sometimes you hit a brick wall and you just don't know what to do, or the instructions aren't clear to you at the time. And if you can have somebody who can be like, oh yeah, I had the same problem and this is what I did. So far I've never actually ran into a problem with Hohi's patterns because she's written them so clearly, but you never know. Something just might not be clear. So that is it for my whips today. Sort of. I've got one later, but I'm gonna post it in my Wish I Knew segment. But I have an FO. So if any of you watch Megan's podcast, Knitter's Party podcast, she had been mentioning that she did a test knit for me for a hat, and her hat is gorgeous. Looks so good on her. But anyways, she had said that she had seen it on my Instagram, I guess. I think it was on my Instagram. But anyways, she asked if she could test it for me, or I asked her if she could test it for me because she loved it so much. And this is the original. Hers is the same yarn, actually. I don't want to really move my head. Look, I got a glass head. I found one. So much nicer. I guess I should. It's just so heavy, I'd hate to drop it. I mean, this sucker is big, and it's heavy. And I put it in an awkward spot. Okay, anyways. Okay, so here's my glass head. I went looking, so I go to Pier 1, and I'm like, okay, and I pull up the picture, and I'm like, it's kind of creepy, but do you guys have these? And she's like, oh yeah, we sell a ton of them. And I was like, that's the weirdest thing I have ever purchased in all my life. I swear, it's this head. I mean, it's a little creepy, but it holds a hat awesome, and it blocks a hat like you would not believe, because it's like actual human head size. So perfect. I don't have to, because if any of you are out there doing hats, you understand. It's like if you want to block it so that the pattern shows, it's kind of difficult to block a hat. You can lay it out flat, but it doesn't. Then you've got these weird seams on the side. So this Pier 1, if anybody's looking, they're recycled glass heads, and they're like, I think they're $20 in the States, and it was $30 here in Canada because our dollar is crappy right now. But anyways, hat. Not talking about the head anymore. This is my hat. I designed it. It's going to be released right away now that my testers have all finished with it. It's got this awesome, like, it's not a slip stitch. It's actually like a 1x3 little cable. Not difficult at all. I would consider this like a beginner pattern. You can totally do it. One day I'm hoping to film like a tutorial on how to do these little cable crosses without using a cable needle, because personally I hate using a cable needle, and if I don't have to, I won't. It's really simple. But yeah, hopefully I'm hoping to do like a YouTube tutorial on how to do it. But yeah, this is the hat here. On my head, I've got like a really small head. It's like 21 inches, so it's kind of like kid size. That explains why I'm not very smart. Oh well. Anyways, what was I saying? So I did it a little bit longer, so it's got a tiny bit of slouch in the back of my head, which I don't super normally love a lot of slouch, but just a little bit is nice. But yeah, here I'll show it to you on the head. So yeah, so what's really cool about this pattern is that once it's on, these little like 1x3 cross cables, they pull a little bit, and then you get this really cool like pattern going on in there. I think it's really cool. I love it. So anyways, this yarn that I used is some of my hand dyed that I sell in my shop. Mine and my sister's shop, Midknit Cravings. And I will have an update for you at the end of this episode, like I try to at the end of all of them. So I will give you a heads up in case you're not interested in watching that. But yes, this is a velvet plum in our sport. And actually we've discontinued this particular sport weight. We really liked it, but we found some that we love as much, and it's Canadian, so it's easier for us to get into our shop. So, I mean, eventually maybe we'll we'll get some more of this as a special run or something like that. But for now, we've switched our sport weight base. So in case you're, in case you've purchased before or late, have some of our sport weight, and if you get more, it'll be different. But okay, so that is that for my whips and FOs. So today I wanted to do, obviously, if you've been with me for any length of time, you know I like to do a Wish I Knew segment for any of us that are new knitters, or, well, not even new knitters. I mean, everybody can learn something new. So, sorry. Just leave it alone. Anyways, so today on our Wish I Knew, I am going to talk about actually my sister suggested it and I always forget about it, and it is such a good website. So thanks, Tara. Okay, so when you are searching on Ravelry, a lot of times you end up with, you look at a pattern and they call for something that you can't access. Okay, so say you're in a different country and you can't get knit picks, and my pattern says use knit pick swish, or it's a pattern and it specifically says, oh, we knit our sample in Plucky Knitter, or just something, and for whatever reason, you don't have it, or you want something different, or you can't afford that, whatever. There is a website that you can use that will tell you what you can substitute for that yarn. It is www.patternsub.com. I will put the link below. But say, okay, for example, I should have had one up, but I don't even have my phone with me. So say you, the pattern calls for Barocco Vintage, and you don't have Barocco Vintage and you can't get it because your local yarn store stopped carrying it and you don't want to order online. Okay, so you go there to the Pattern Sub website and you plug in that your pattern wants you to use Barocco Vintage. And when you hit enter or whatever, you'll fill out a little bit of information. And when you're done, it will spit out yarns that are compatible. So it's easy for you to switch out. So it will maybe tell you, oh, well, you can use Cascades something, or you can use Knit Picks something is equivalent. It's like the same thing with a different label. It's awesome. I love it because, yeah, there's lots of times where I don't have access to that particular yarn and I'd like to know. And it's also helpful because sometimes patterns look the best in the yarns that they're designed with, because of the way that the drape or the gauge or whatever. So you don't want to be just switching out yarn willy-nilly. Say they have this gorgeous, beautiful cabled pattern made with 100% wool, and you were like, oh, well, I'm just going to make it out of acrylic. That you can totally do that, but the look of your final project isn't going to look the same because acrylic doesn't act the same as wool. So your cables might not look quite as crisp or as nice or something like that. So that pattern sub, or not pattern sub, yarns, dang, did I say pattern sub? I totally did. It's not pattern sub, it's yarn sub. It's a substituting for yarns, not patterns. Stupid, sorry about that. I'm gonna have to put an edit, like disclaimer, not enough coffee, I'm an idiot. I'm sorry. Well, if most of you have been here for long enough, you know that I totally, I do this all the time. I totally screw up everything. But, okay, yarn sub, not pattern sub, yarnsub.com. And yeah, so awesome. Love that website. And I always forget about it. I don't know why. I guess maybe I'm familiar enough now with some yarns that I can confidently substitute some yarns, but it's an excellent resource for anybody that's maybe newer, or maybe there's a yarn that you haven't heard of before and you just like to look and to see what it's similar to. So yes, there you go. So wish I knew. Wish I knew how to be, more prepared, but that's not going to happen. So the other thing that I wanted to show you, and it can be a little bit awkward for me because I'm like kind of in this weird space this way, that I might not be able to show you very well. But okay, so when you sometimes buy like hand-dyed yarn, or even at the yarn shop, some like Barocco comes this way, or some of them I think, but you can get hanks of yarn, okay, like these ones. And sometimes you want to untwist it and to see how the colors run throughout. I wouldn't recommend doing that at a yarn shop. People don't really like that, but because then they have to retwist it, right? But I mean, once you've got it at home, and then you struggle, like, okay, well, now I unprettied it. What do I do? So I'm going to show you how. I'm sure you all know this, but some of you may not. But okay, so it's the same one. I've untwisted it. So now, how to get it back? I like to put a finger in at the top, put a finger in at the bottom. Actually, before you do that, some of these can get a little bit on the scraggly side. You can see how they're kind of scragging down around here and stuff. Give it a little snap. So you just hold it against like your opposite, not gonna clap your hands, right? And you just snap it. And give it a couple snaps. Helps the yarn orient itself. Okay, so now stick a finger in one end, stick a finger in the other end, and we're going to twist it. Okay, I just twist one finger, this hand. Okay, like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, so this is nice and tight. Okay, I've only got 8. Each hank, depending on how long they are, how thick the yarn is going to be different. There's no magic number as to how many you're going to twist. You're going to twist till it's tight, okay? So like my fingers are, and you can see how that's kinking on itself. Just like if you twist a piece of hair, how it will twist up on itself. Okay, so now the hard part is, I usually have it like put this on over the corner of a table. So forgive me, this is going to be a really gimpy skein, but I promise I do know what I'm doing. But then you get your fingers, get your thumb and your finger through here and grab the other end. Okay, now you're going to have this, sometimes you end up with this. Now it looks kind of bad. So hold on to it at the top, get your fingers down at the bottom, and you can give it a twist. So this one got a little bit gimpy, but the idea is the same. And it just takes a little bit of practice. There you go, that's not too bad. Okay, like that. So like I said, usually when I'm doing it, I'll have it like this and I'll go to the corner of my table and I'll just put the middle under the lip of the table and then I'll bring it together and hold it tight so that, you know, it doesn't go like all crazy like this one did. But anyways, if it does go a little bit crazy, you just need to give it a tug and encourage it to go where you want it to go. And then you've got that skein back up. So now you can feel free to untwist it and look at all your beautiful colors and then just give it a twist back up. So easy as can be. It hurts the fingers a little bit. If you've got something like carpal tunnel going on, it might sting, might hurt a little bit, so maybe you wouldn't want to unwind it until you're ready to put it on your Swift and ball it up. But if your wrists don't bother you, then that's fun. So I guess I'm going to I have a couple little yarns sitting right beside me that I just wanted to share. Now I do some hand dyeing of my own, and I mean I appreciated hand dyed yarn before, but I think I appreciate it a little bit more now that I do it. I know how much work it is and why it's so special. And this dyer I've been following for a little while, and I've never made the plunge to buy her yarns, but there were some. They've made it into my cart and then they snuck out of my cart because I was like, oh, I could always convince myself that I didn't need it, that it was silly, not a silly purchase, but you know, like I didn't need it, so why? But then one day she posted up a colorway that was extremely special to her, and I don't know, something just overcame me and I threw them in my cart, didn't even blink, and checked them out. But anyways, the dyer, her name is Kelly, and she owns Peggy Jane Fibers. So I have her business card. Do you think I thought to bring it up? No. But anyways, that's Peggy Jane Fibers. She is out of Vermont, I believe. Yes. She says, each skein of yarn is hand dyed in small batches in the Green Mountains of Vermont. So Peggy Jane Fibers is her shop. So I bought this one. This is the one that I'm like, oh, okay, I need to have this one. Look at it. Isn't it gorgeous? So it's like all these pinks and this hot green and this hot pink and orange and there's some yellow. It is so beautiful. And then this one's been in my cart multiple times. And like I said, I just always would sneak it out, but I needed this one. And so this one followed it home. And this one's called Frenzy. So yes, you can see it's got like these awesome like turquoise and purple and royal blue and orange and pink and oh my goodness. Oh, and then there's some green in there. There's no yellow. But it's just like this highly saturated, insane skein of yarn. I love it so much. So anyways, this yarn is called Farewell. And the reason I felt like I needed it, so it's her memory yarn for her mother. The memorial yarn almost. It's called Farewell. Her mother just recently passed away from Alzheimer's. And this skein of yarn was dyed. The inspiration was a beautiful floral arrangement that was at her mother's funeral. With like, I don't remember. She showed a small picture of the pictures, but I know it was probably quite a gorgeous arrangement. If it was, enough to inspire this beautiful colorway. So anyways, it just spoke to me. And when she said what the inspiration was, it's like, sometimes it hits you right in the hits you right in the feels. So this one did, and this is what I purchased. So I can't help but show it off. But check her out. Her Etsy shop is Peggy Jane Fibers. Yeah, PeggyJaneFibers.etsy.com. And then her Instagram is Kelly_Margaret. I will try to put all the information under there for you. But if you're looking for a new hand dyer to enjoy, I highly recommend her. She's got such bright, gorgeous, gorgeous colors. So those two followed me home. So that's that, I guess, for the main segment. I'm going to do a quick shop update with some information. I'm going to share some yarn that my daughter dyed. She's 5, so if you want to stick around to see what she worked on and what we've been working on in our shop, I would love for you to stick around. But if not, then thank you so much for watching. I hope you join us for our cow, and we'll see you next time. But for those of you that want to stick around, well, let's get started. My sister and I, like I've mentioned on previous podcasts, own midknitcravings.etsy.com. We're a small hand dyer. We've been dyeing all week this week, trying to keep up with orders. We had a successful run of the color of the last petal that I had on my podcast last time, and it is open again. I believe there's 5 spots left, and then after that it's done. I don't think we're going to be carrying it again. It's a highly, what's the word? Like, it takes us a long time to dye each one. It's, what's the word? I know you're all screaming it at me. But anyways, it's like a intensely hard color to do. It floats away. Anyways, I don't think we're going to be doing it again. It takes too long to make each one. So, and also we wanted to do it a limited edition run because these are Beauty and the Beast inspired colorway, and Beauty and the Beast is out this month. And yeah, we just kind of wanted to limit it. So 5 spots left, and then I think we're going to be done with it. I guess. I don't know. I can't promise that for sure, but I'm saying that right now. I dye it, so I know how much work it is. Each one takes me about half an hour to hand dye, so I can't do a ton of them in a day. It's just, it's too much. So limited edition. If you want one, grab it now, because I can't promise it's ever going to come back. But so I'll insert a picture so you can see what it looked like. It's dyed on our sugar base, which is our sparkle. It's 84 merino, superwash merino, and 16% sparkle. So it is insane sparkle. And actually, oh, I have my sample of it. I started knitting with it because I wanted to see what it would knit up like. So this is it, all wound up. Oh my goodness. I've got so much junk in this bag that I've just kind of, oh, I had one more thing for my, I have one more thing for my Wish I Knew segment. Oh well, I'll show it. I'll show it when I show this whip. So hopefully everybody hung on because I've got a bonus. So anyways, sorry. Yeah, so this is the yarn. It's all caked up. Like I said, I'll show a picture of what it looked like and why it's Beauty and the Beast inspired, because I mean you probably can't tell why from here, but yeah, it's grays, and then we've got some of the Belle's dress color, and we've got some red from the rose and green from the stem and the leaves, and it's sparkly. You can't really tell from here. There we go. Oh, yeah, you can tell. It's crazy sparkly. Like you wouldn't even believe it. But okay, so that's the ball. And this is my sock. So I have another whip too. Goodness. And this is called the braided plait. Something like that. I don't know. I will put the pattern name. But that's how it's knitting up. And this, it comes, each of the listings has like an option, or you can buy it with a mini or without, your choice. So this is the mini that we put with it, and it is called Ball Gown. And obviously, we all know what ball gown that is. But yeah, I love how it's knitting up. It was so much fun. I was like, okay, I did not expect it to look like that. And I mean, they're all hand dyed, so everybody's like, your mileage may vary kind of thing. Like, just because mine's knitting up like that, somebody else's might, and gauge is going to make a difference. So, but this just happens to be how mine is knitting up, and I love it. So, and I love this braid. It's like a cable. There we go. That braid is awesome. So I'm really, really loving this project. And then, what else did I want to show you? Oh yeah, so I'm going to show you, you know what? I've got it out right in front of me, so I'm going to do this. This is a blood orange on worsted sparkle. So it was a gold sparkle. It was the first blood orange that we ever dyed up, and we just absolutely loved it. And then we started doing it on fingering weight. So that's what you can see behind me, that bright red one. I can show a close-up of it in a minute. But this is it on worsted. You can see like it's actually quite a bit different. I'm going to show you now. Because each kind of fiber, the weight of the fiber totally affects how it's going to, like, the dye takes. So they are made with the same dyes, but they look quite a bit different. With fingering weight, the dye can absorb more easily into the yarn because it's thinner. And then with worsted, it's a lot thicker. So you do get a lot more tonal whites showing through. The color isn't quite as saturated, but anyways, that's it on worsted, and that's the same color on fingering. So you can tell they're the same colors, but they look almost completely different. But so I'm playing with this one right now, and I'm just working up like a shop sample for our shop for if we ever want to do a trunk show or just have pictures up of certain things. But this is going to bring me into my it's a work in progress, but it's also going to be a Wish I Knew little tip. Okay, so this is the Spikelets Cowl. You can't tell right now, but it's going to have some cabling. You can kind of see it starting there. You can see the hand-dyed yarn is so fun because look at the way the colors are. Just every stitch is slightly different. But okay, so if you're looking closely, you will see I have got one Knit Picks needle on my interchangeable, and then I've got this one. Come on. Oh well, anyways, you can see they're different. This one's a pink one, and it is Knitter's Pride, and it is a size 8, US 8, 5mm, and this one is a Knit Picks nickel, and it is a US 6, a 4.0mm. So the reason I have two on my needles, I'm working this cowl in the round, and I did the ribbing on the smaller size needles, okay? And then it tells me, okay, it's time to switch your needle sizes for the cabled section, because you usually go, ribbing is usually done on a smaller needle and then your main pattern is done on a bigger needle. You don't have to switch out both of your needles. This is my working needle, this pink one, so I made it the bigger of the two. This one, this needle, because I'm working in the round, this Knit Picks one, it's basically just carrying the yarn. So it can stay the smaller needle size and it doesn't matter. So, because when you're knitting it, you know, like when I'm going, you're wrapping the yarn around the bigger needle, it's your working needle. So your stitches are going to be bigger because they're going to be the gauge of this bigger needle, and this one's just merely carrying along the yarn. It's excellent to do this when you're cabling. I just kind of figured that out because, you know, when you're working with cables, it can be like those stitches can be super, super tight because the stitches are snug against your needle. So when you're using, if I had an 8 on this one and an 8 on this one, I'm really going to be struggling to get my needles like under. But because this needle is a little bit smaller, I've got room. You can see that there. Oops, I dropped a stitch. Like I've got some extra room on those stitches. So to get them off and get my cables done, it's so much easier because these stitches are a little bit looser, but my gauge is proper because I'm using the bigger one for my working needle. So that's a really fun tip. Or the other one is when it's, another time it's useful to use it is even just when you're switching between your two needle, when you're done your ribbing and you did it on 2 sizes smaller and then it says, okay, it's time to switch to your bigger. Those stitches are done on a smaller gauge because you were using a smaller needle. And then all of a sudden they're like, oh, force a huge needle through all those tiny stitches. And it's really hard to do that. So just put the one needle on, knit the first round, and then if you want to, go ahead and take your second needle off and put it with your bigger one if you want. But that very first round where you're transitioning from ribbing to your main pattern, just do one needle. That's all you need. So if you're right-handed, it would be your right hand needle. If you're left-handed, it would be your left hand needle, whatever is your dominant hand that you're going to be knitting from, because you need it to be the working one. But there's a tip for you. I've seen it, people saying that they always work with 2 different sizes. Say if you're ribbing, or not your ribbing, say if you're working flat, like back and forth, and your purls are always tighter than your knits, then use a bigger needle on the left one. Because your right one, you're going to be going across your knit rows. So have a smaller needle for that one. And then if your purls are too tight, put a larger needle on the left-hand side so that when you turn your work and your work now working the opposite way, you've got a bigger needle for your purls. And that will help you keep consistent gauge as well. I find that my purls and my knits are pretty much the same gauge, so I don't worry about doing that. But I do know a lot of people have said that their purls are either tighter or looser than their knits, depending on how they work it. So when you're working with stockinette, you might end up with a row that's a little bit, like every second row might be a little bit smaller or taller or whatever, depending on. So there's a tip for you. So yeah, that's that. So I'm really enjoying working with those. And I'm just going to quickly show you what we've got up in our shop right now and what we're going to be putting up in our shop in the next day or two. So yeah, so I've showed you the blood orange. This one was really, we did quite a few of these. We really like this one. So it's like the bright reds and the purples and some orange in there. I think I showed those last week, so I'm not going to keep showing you things that I did last. But this is new. I might have shown one last week. I can't remember now. But this is our Dancing Skies colorway. So I've got 2 of them in the shop right now. And if you haven't figured it out, it's our Northern Lights inspired color. So we've got this bright, bright, shockingly like chartreusey green. We've got a little bit of like turquoisey blue in there, lots of navy. This one you can't tell too much, but we do have some hot pink and some purples. This one you can see it a little bit better. And it is done on our sugar base because you have to have night sky. It needs to twinkle a little bit. So that's this one, Dancing Skies. And it is done on, like I said, our sugar base. So it's a fingering. We don't have a sparkle on a heavier base right now. But I mean, if anybody ever wants anything, feel free to reach out to us and ask, because we're still quite new. And so we're mostly sticking with the fingering weights because we know that that's what people like. But we do have sport in our shop as well. We just haven't really had a chance to dye up with much of it. This is one we played with. It's a new technique that we're trying out. Keeping some of that original color. We're going to do this with some other colors. We still want to play with this, but I think it's really neat. It's all throughout. There's some more there. It knits up so cool because it's like all one color, and then all of a sudden you'll get some blips of white. It's really fun. We really like this one. So we did it up on a mini, and then we were like, oh, it's so awesome. So then we did it up on a big one, and we haven't been brave enough to put it up in the shop because I don't. We would like to knit a sample with it so people know what it looks like, but it's a lot of fun. We really like this. And oh, we've got some smoke and mirrors. Can't reach. You know, I set it up behind me so it looks pretty, and then I'm like, I can't reach it. But okay, smoke and mirrors we've had on sport weight before, but now we've got it on our fingering. This is our sweet sock. It's just a beautiful gray tonal. It doesn't really read any particular color. I think it's a really good neutral. It's like not a browny gray or a bluey gray. I think it's just a very good, like, just gray. So it's awesome. It's a really good one to have as a neutral. So it's kind of a medium shade of gray. It's not a super soft one. But it's not dark. Like this is a charcoal base. And then so this with that, like it's considerably lighter. Whoop. But it's not like a super soft dovey gray or anything. But some velvet plum is in the shop again. Let's see here. Oh my god. I swear. Next week I'm going to figure this out. I literally say that every week. Okay, Velvet Plum, which is just our deep purple. We are loving this color. Apparently other people are too because we can't keep it in the shop. But yeah, just this gorgeous, rich toned purple. Super dark saturated. And this one. Okay, so this was supposed to be Juice Box, which is also quite a popular colorway. But stupidly, I didn't, when I get dyeing and stuff like that, I'm usually just like, okay, move this yarn here, move this yarn here, this one's cooling. It gets quite crazy sometimes. And I accidentally put my Juice Box color into a pan that had recently had this one. So guess what happened? I got some of this color on my Juice Box. So I was kind of, you know, it looked perfect on the top, and I like speckled it, and it was beautiful, and I flipped it, and I went, no! Like, ah, crap. I gray all over the back side of it. So I was like, so I hit it with a bunch of black speckles, and I kind of like it. You know, it's a happy accident. So this is Juice Box with black. So we were laughing. We call it moldy Juice Box. It's kind of gross. No, but nobody's going to want it. But anyways, we posted it on Instagram and people really liked it. So I'm not sure. It's looking for a good name, not, you know, not a gross name. But it's Juice Box with black. And it's got some gray throughout it. Yeah, you can see some gray and some black. And oh, I called it on the back. I called it Grunge, one of a kind. But I don't think that's going to stay. I just wanted to get the label on it and everything. But anyways, you know, people seem to really like it. I would be happy to carry this in my shop if there's interest in it. So let me know in the comments below if you like it. And it's not listed in the shop right now, but I could totally throw it in if any of you out there like it and would like to have it. It goes awesome with Velvet Plum, in case you're looking for a, you know, because it has some of the same Velvet Plum speckles in there. And it would also look great with gray. And it would also look great with dark gray. Okay, so this is that crazy one, but you know, for reference, it would look good with a gray. So yeah, that's what we've got in our shop right now. So we dyed up some of those yesterday. So our shop is slowly getting back. We kind of almost sold out of everything, which we were really surprised and excited. But so now this week we've been dying and dying and dying and trying to get some more done. So we developed a new colorway because that's fun too. And it's behind me. Boop. I gotta move this way. There we go. There it is, right there, with my Anne of Green Gables book, because okay, so this is my, I love this book. Green Gables Knits. So beautiful. I love this pattern. This is the one that caught my eye. It's called Anne's Sweater. I'm currently knitting it with Knit Picks Wool of the Andes, but it's a little bit too scratchy for me, and I don't really like the color that much. I got it on because they were having their big sale, and I got it for like $1.10 a ball or something like that, and I needed 16. So my whole sweater cost me like 16 bucks, and I was so excited, but I just don't really like how it's knitting up. So it's 3/4 done, and I might frog it. But this is the pattern here. Oh shoot, I don't want to show. Well, this is just measurements and stuff, but this doesn't show anything of the pattern. But so it's got like this really beautiful long cuff with like a ribbing, and let's see, I don't know how to cover this up. I'll just cover it with my hands. And it's nice and long in the bum. Oh, I think it's so pretty. I love it. But anyways, okay, so this is one of my favorite books. There's lots of beautiful patterns, but also Anne of Green Gables is my favorite book. I grew up reading them. The movies that CBC did with Megan Follows, I binge watch those every year. So it was very natural for me and Tara to want to do a yarn that was inspired by that. So this is what we've got. I'm not going to untwist it. This is our prototype, but our actual yarns look very similar to this. This one I just kind of messed up with the blue a little bit, but I'm going to show it to you anyways because it's all the same colors. It's exactly the same. It's just I tweaked it a little bit. But yeah, that's it here. So we've got all this greens here, and it's flecked with some browns, like an auburn color, and then we've got like a sky blue and this beautiful antique pink. I will insert a picture of the bags that I sewed. I don't know. Anyways, that I made. And the colors in this were, the colors in that bag were very, like all these colors. So I actually took the bag with me to when I was dyeing, and we color compared and stuff like that. So, but yes, I love it. Oh my goodness, I'm so much in love with it. And then we are going to possibly offer a mini to go with it if you're wanting like to make socks. So we've got like this forest green. So this is Green Gables. And so, I mean, this color isn't in this, but if you're wanting, you know, the set, so you have Green Gables with it, then I mean, you're more than welcome. But so this is Green Gables. This is Anne with an E. And it will be in our shop by tomorrow. By the time this goes live, it will be in our shop. I only have 2 right now, but I'm more than willing to dye up a bunch. And it is, you would not believe the squish. It is some squishy. I love it. But yeah, so that's a new colorway that's going to be hitting in our shop. And I'm going to be working on a new colorway yet again today, based on like some bright, really bright, fun colors, if I can get there in time. So I best get going because as Amanda and Christina say, the dye pots are waiting. I've never been able to say that, but it's true today. My sister is setting up the dye studio, and we are going to get dyeing this afternoon. So I better get running. But thank you guys so much for watching and for supporting me and my sister with our dyeing adventure. We're having a blast. We kind of underestimated how much work it was going to be, but we're loving it so much, and we really appreciate all your support. So yeah, so I guess we'll see you again next week. So please, like I said before, join us with our cowl. If you'd like to check out our shop or follow us on Instagram, we're midknitcravings.etsy.com and Midknit Cravings on Instagram. So, all right, well, we'll catch you guys next in a couple of weeks. Thanks, guys. Bye. Okay, I just wanted to share quick. This is kind of, I'm taking this after, so it might be a little bit disjointed, but I completely forgot to show you guys the yarn that my daughter dyed. She's 5. Well, she'll be 6 this month. And she came with me one day when I was dyeing yarn, and she kept pounding me. So I gave her a mini, and I covered her, don't you worry, with, she had her big painting smock on, which is plastic, so, you know, there wasn't going to be anything getting on her skin, and big gloves and everything. So before anybody's like, whoa, you shouldn't, she was safe. We're good, okay? All right. So anyways, she helped me dye some yarn. So I put a little bit of color in some squirt bottles, and she just went to town. You can see the video on our Midknit Cravings Instagram, I think, and also the finished product there as well. But this is what she made. It's just a mini, so it's not overly large. She is so proud of it. Oh, I'm pretty proud of her too. It's an awesome color. Look at the color. So she was quite thrilled because blue is her favorite color. She tells me every day, blue's my favorite color. I'm like, yeah, I know. So I gave her all the blue dyes that we had and mixed up as dye stocks. And I said, just do whatever you want. So she just squirted away, and we've got all these awesome, like, colors, or not colors so much, but like tones and where it's bled together. And she got it pretty saturated. And so then I just, you know, she did it in the pot, squeezed it, and then with her gloved fingers, I had her give it a squish so it get the color throughout the yarn. And then I heated it, and then we set it out to dry. So she has decided that she is going to make herself a little scarf for her doll, is what she's going to get. And she's almost 6, but she's learned to knit, and she can knit a little bit. Like, she can knit and, like, garter stitch. I haven't taught her the purl stitch yet, but so she wants to. She was so thrilled when I brought it home after it was dry. And she's like, can I keep it? I'm like, of course, because she thought I was going to sell it in the shop. I'm like, no, you get to keep this one. And then she's like, can I knit it? I'm like, yes, you can. So yeah, there it is. So that is Laura's creation. So thanks, guys. We'll see you later.